In this video, I would like to demonstrate how a teacher might use technology and incorporate that into their assessments. So here's an example where I am going to have students use iPads with the app GeoGebra or Chromebooks with the app GeoGebra in order to do problem number 9 on their assessment. Problem number 9 says, you want to make a board game. You spend $20 for setup costs and $5 for the materials for each game. You plan to sell each game for $15. Letter A, write and graph equations to represent income and expenses on GeoGebra. So first they're going to do some things, paper and pencil, and they're going to recognize that the expense is going to be a $20 flat fee along with $5 per game. So their equation for their expense is going to be y equals 5 times x, since x stands for the number of games, plus that $20 initial setup cost. Their income is going to be much simpler, and that is $15 per game, so 15x. Letter B, they're asked to define their variables in context to this situation. So x is going to represent, for both the expense and the income, the number of games. So that's either the number of games created or the number of games sold. Y, however, is going to represent money. So it's either going to represent expense if it's in this equation or income in this equation. So it represents money, either expense or income. Letter C asks students to find the break-even point, and this is where the tool GeoGebra is going to come in handy. So basically what they need to do is they need to graph these two linear equations and see when is the expense equal to the income to define the break-even point. So we have the GeoGebra app open, and down here we're just going to type in y equals 5x plus 20 to represent our expenses. Then we're going to type y is equal to 15x to represent our income. And as you can see, a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to click on graphics here, just so that we can get the grids up there. And second of all, we can't see what's going on. So I'm going to click on this Move Graphics View. I'm going to slide this down until I can actually see where these two lines intersect. It looks like right here. And I'm going to drop a point of intersection. So I'm going to go to Point, Intersect, and I'm going to click on both lines. And as you can see, one of the things I love about GeoGebra is that not only it shows it graphically, but it also shows the algebraic form of the line and the break-even point. So the break-even point looks like it is at the point 230. So then my students would go back to their paper and pencil, and they would come back in here and they would put in that the break-even point is 230. And of course, there's no point in figuring out what the break-even point is unless I ask my students to describe what x and y coordinate mean in context to that situation. So I might have a student that may say, in order for someone to break even with the expense of making games, they must sell 2 games. And they may even put something in there about the cost being the $30. Okay. And that is one way that I would use GeoGebra to incorporate technology into my assessment.